shoot. Nothing. I just forgot something. Yeah, it's okay.
You need me to get something?
No, it's all right. Opening prayers. So we'll start today like we did yesterday with just the abbreviated refuge, the 4 immeasurables, and then we'll do the 7 branches on page 15. So beginning on page 5 of the prayer book. In the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha most excellent, I take refuge until enlightenment is reached. By the merit of generosity and other good deeds, may I attain Buddhahood for the sake of all sentient beings. In the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha most excellent, I take refuge until enlightenment is reached. By the merit of generosity and other good deeds, may I attain Buddhahood for the sake of all sentient beings. May all mother sentient beings, boundless as the sky, have happiness and the causes of happiness. May they be liberated from suffering and the causes of suffering. May they never be separated from the happiness which is free from sorrow. May they rest in equanimity, free from attachment and aversion. May all mother sentient beings, boundless as the sky, have happiness and the causes of happiness. May they be liberated from suffering and the causes of suffering. May they never be separated from the happiness which is free from sorrow. May they rest in equanimity, free from attachment and aversion. And then to page 15. I prostrate to the youthful Manjushri, to those in the worlds of the 10 directions, however many there are, all the lions among humans who appear during the 3 times, to all of them without exception, I pay homage with respectful body, speech, and mind. The force of my aspiration prayer for excellent conduct brings all the victorious ones directly to mind. Bowing down with bodies as numerous as atoms in the realms, I prostrate to all the victorious ones. In a single atom, there are Buddhas as numerous as atoms, each residing in the midst of their sons and daughters. Like that, I imagine the whole Dharmadhatu completely filled with victorious ones. To those with oceans of inexhaustible praiseworthy qualities, with sounds containing oceans of tones of melodic speech, I express the qualities of all the victorious ones. I praise all the Sugatas with the finest flowers, the finest garlands, music, ointment, supreme parasols, supreme lamps, and the finest incense. I make offerings to the victorious ones, and with the finest cause, supreme scents, and fine powders equal to Mount Meru, all displayed in supreme and magnificent ways, I make offerings to those victorious ones. With vast and unsurpassable offerings, I venerate all the victorious ones. Through the power of faith and excellent conduct, I prostrate and offer to the victorious ones. Whatever negative actions I have performed with body, speech, and also mind, overpowered by desire, aggression, and stupidity, I confess each and every one of them. I rejoice in everyone's merit, the victorious ones of the 10 directions, the Bodhisattvas, the Pratyeka Buddhas, those in training, those beyond training, and all beings. I request the protectors, the lamps of the worlds of the 10 directions, who passing through the stages of awakening, attain Buddhahood beyond attachment, to turn the unsurpassable Dharma wheel. I supplicate with my palms joined together those who intend to demonstrate nirvana, to remain for kalpas as numerous as atoms in the realms, for the welfare and happiness of all beings. I dedicate whatever slight virtue is accumulated through prostrating, offering, confessing, rejoicing, requesting, and supplicating to enlightenment. And then back to page 14. Sambo July de Be Do Da de Agyawa Gulai Janze Jubarai Ge De Jai Shedan Demo Wange Ne Ludai Ngodai De Ye Ye Jang De Ba Da Ge Jibai Jin Je Ba De Da Dam Je Da Ge So Sa Rai Ya Chu Je Ya Wai Gu Nai San Je Se Ran Ja Nam Dan Lo Dan Me Lo Dan Dro Wa Gun Je Son Na Kong Lai Ya De Dai Gun Je Je Se Da Ye Rang An Kong Nai Chu Je Je Den Dong Ma Dai Chang Jo Ren Bai San Je Ma Cha Ni Gong Bo De Da Da Ge Dam Je La Ko Lo La Na Me Wa Go Wa Go Nyang Ye Da Dong Ka Ye De Da La Do Wa Gu Lan Pin Yin De Je Ge Wai Shin De Tu Nye So Ba Ya Da Ge De Mo Ran Ja Ra So Wa Ge Jaksa Wa Dan Chu Jin Ya Ba Dan Je Se Ye Ran Gu Shin So Wa Ye Ge Wa Chung Se Da Ge Je Sa Ba Tam Je Zo Be Chang Jo Jin Bo And then page 16. Please turn the wheel of the Dharma of the two vehicles and their combination according to the dispositions and mental capacities of sentient beings. Semje Namge Samba Dan Loye Jeda Jeda War Haje Jon Dumo Deba Ye Shuje Kolo Kodu So Tamge Doje Jaje Rezon Doi Shenje Medo Duje Bonjon Bo Serje Lumbo Da Wore Jevik Shaji Jabe Shala Ku Jan Ze Dime Ozer Doje Jingro De Mate Sheje Ngo Che Da Wa Tamje Se Kwa Kun Chen Chu Jeje Yame Digon Renje Ku Jan Ze Omi Chu Jen Yin Je Po Long Tu Tu Song Je Kun Je Ngo Ni Rang Sam Chou Gun Ngo Song Dong Ze Bie Zo Ye La Me Xiao La Ku Jan Ze Gong Da Chou Chou Gong Ken Ji De Na De Ti Long Ma Chir Wa Gang So Da Deng De Dong Bi Chu Jin Jian Be Ba Zhen Bo Do Wa Dam Jin De Ye She No Mo Ya La Ye Ge Dang Lu Dang De Ji Ge Zhong Da Dang Mi Ye Ge Nam Da Gun Je Da Ki Che Zang Ba Tam Ji Ge De Da Ge Ju Den Do Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Thiên đàng ngã cho chế thang thằng đó thì tăng nhận song song na này ta chỉ nhờ vào thằng thì này đó thế số ta số khởi sự na các thằng con thiếu na gì thế này có chỉ nên nghe phải chỉ thằng công作này chỉ ta hiện bây giờ cái lãnh đạo chỉ số hiệu cho thiên lý mà yên ba thế này ta có chỉ individual ngô cái này thế này khởi sự của ta nhung mong be cái khởi sự của ta ràng dọc image thiên lý của ta
참래 직 여러의 그런소 참래 다 이다 그런소 라서 같은데 용교사레스
with the three lower realms, and, in particular, like we've been going through, we've now gone through the worst of the three lower realms, the realms, the hell realms and the realms of hungry ghosts. And as has already been mentioned, like yesterday, that it's not that we should think of these as realms that are truly existent realms that exist somewhere physically, that are like, created somehow, and truly exist. But rather these are, just as in fact all phenomena is, projected images or appearances of the individual who creates the karma to experience that phenomena. So they are realms that are created by the afflictive emotions and the karmic ripening of the individuals who are born there.
that the inditini yang aso ji the tenis amutangu yosata so karsena ji nyomumbe ke 다 랑조 tiniji 마토베 ke yang ji nga chuda melaji hyanangu de yang rola jigbe tende re mares tenditini zo chehyo de karsena nga chodi 다 hyanang kesi hyanang yu yujegle hyanang mayin ba hyanang de karsena nga choki 직 뇽몽바게 해당라서바 디게 젠지네 다 고망냐 송라서바 제야 제기도 삼바 디엔디다 텔랭가서 직 뇽몽바 디게 왕토만도와 테마도 베기양 차는차는가서 직 냐와도 해낭직 제지고 다 텔라 베 해낭도 잠네테네 고우여서 말이스.
So that being the case, when we really understand these are like the self-manifestations of the afflictive emotions, we don't have to be too scared of like these places, in and of themselves. If we are scared, the object of our fright should be the afflictive emotions in our own mind stream, like anger, because and so when we don't see them as like self-existent places that are created, then we don't externally, then it's not something to be afraid of that isn't, that as sort of like an external fear, but rather it makes sense to instead be fearful of the power of the negative emotions. And so that fear of the power of negative emotions should be something that then enables us to be more resolute about not falling under the power of the afflictive mind states when they arise, to really become more resolute about taming our own mind.
어다 대가 나기다 것도 샘기 줄라 화차 베네 뇽몽바이나 뇽몽바 몽보 제베 좀 센들 되네 뇽몽베 화차 샤기요레 티니드네 다 개와로나 개베게 화차 샤기요레 티인도 다 가서디 원이 지나 지 샘게 나라 화차 카샤 거스나 지 희와당 대와 라와 대가 나 얘기다 가서 조제효 상악 주도 자첨보이 송구요레 라와 자첨보이면 가르진 자첨보레 라위나 지금 원에 타네 나시 타파람냐 저기지 나신 시비기 추 타다 탐지베 타파인바 라와 짱마인바 이동와인바 베나다 가서 현감을 베죠 대오지 요라다 텐디제 게고 샘게 땡랑 가서 지 곰바 다 텐디제 게 금디 총비나 되네 그 루셈 닌자라고 빼 로고 저 대오지 용되기로와 다티 베nen가 첨부레스 디인도 테마도 베다 다동 양골 학파트게 다 통보틀라
So then, our mind is the one that creates these karmic imprints that then turn into experience. So if we become habituated to negative mind states, we create negative karmic imprints. If we become habituated to virtuous mind states, we create virtuous imprints. And so those imprints determine our reality. So if we develop more imprints for peaceful, sort of, peace, being at peace, being at ease. And in particular, this is why secret mantra is so precious, so powerful, because, when we speak of there's the vast and pure expanse of appearances or appearance and existence. So when all appearance and existence becomes a pure display of, the vast expanse of primordial awareness, then that is also something that is created by the mind through practicing secret mantra. And so that's why we want to encourage those positive mind states that, have pure perception of others, pure perception of the world around us, that really, where we are happy, relaxed, at ease. If we habituate ourselves to mind states such as this, if we habituate ourselves especially to wholesome intentions and virtuous mind states, then the result of that will be that is the kind of phenomena that we will experience based on those positive karmic imprints.
대가 나 이당 저디 원에 지내서 개침보도 가서 북충중 그 까블라다 지대 배가 저 제모제야요와 제모제야도 다 등장 망보 제게 고 가리나 고 I don't understand, but this game delà dicta violence to. Tiga na yinga to chala nyuwina, chala zemozeya, chala tozola, ko chala andamda yuda yu sigiti na ta business to zoki chala kharjniyo bosna te memdanda wo. Tane ji kharsena ji mala pa shi kharse ji hya ro ta ngoni thegi da hingi ko plastic ri thina ya ko tindi mambo ji tene tegi yorwa ina ta zo ngoni china ku pu ju la hwa dukja ji zeya imba ji dobya imba tene de zuya imba oda tzu ka hwa de nga zo chu seya di yar sangjina kumdiri maamya sono kumdiri 네 검증 연바지 복층에서 중요된 도와지 빡 속고 저디나 지금 맨날 따위고 완다고 지 세기 요원도 지 돕고 요원도 지 확자 배트니 효지 뭐 하도 와 대가서 담볼라 그 북지리 되니 요마로 와 어다 드니로 지 양고 검자라도 지 제몬도 단가시 드니도 양고 배지 단다 추트형 부선 그거 참자 부글이야 애니멀 참보도 지디 양고 애니멀 되는 거네 지나
What? Oh, it's like stuffed animals?
Yeah, 이나데 텔레코다 제와로 레고도 제와로 참반로 요리고 오요 말이 심제 말이 이나야. 다 드서 내가 침보는 도와. 디니네 지코셈 타마. 테 고고요로 와 테니 딱 가서 가서 스케리 고고요 말 가서 스케리 요로 와.
So, when we take note of this, it's important, especially, when we consider like small children. So, when children are young, they are so impressionable, and it's very easy to like direct them toward creating certain imprints early on, whether positive or negative. So that's why, games that are violent in nature, and of course, like the businesses profit off of like stimulating those violent inclinations in children, playing with guns and playing war and fighting and violence, and even though it's like maybe it's just a plastic gun, but what it's doing is it's creating a propensity, it's creating an imprint in the mind stream of that little child early on, which is significant. And so that's why it's so important, for parents to make an effort to steer their children towards those positive karmic imprint, creating positive karmic imprints rather than negative karmic imprints. Because whatever is developed early on, it will become easier to build upon that tendency as one gets older and older, whether it's positive, whether it's negative. So for instance, giving them stuffed animals, even if it's like a fake animal or a doll or something, but they're developing like a nurturing tendency that's like, they treat the animal gently and kindly, and they, sort of nuzzle it and care for it, or, teaching them to be careful with animals, to not kill animals, to try to protect bugs and things like that. So we want to, especially in small humans, encourage their tendency towards what is wholesome and virtuous, because all of that becomes karmic imprint. We don't need them to be scared. Like, there's enough that's scary already. We don't have to create more to kind of phenomena that is the nature of like that is scary in nature for them.
That is what I should have done with Sarah. You're also trying to promote it. Go the Amsterdam rabbit dog, Yorwa. The near Wachi, that not a Hombajan dog, Yorwa. Okay, near Kiggle on Daily Lorota and the Nikiwa. I got Tindemaris to the bed. Yaho Junamaris to Nikina, the women of the Nikizona. Taco Kadi, Titade, Chicago, Chindiki, good maton. That he could say what you live with.
So he said he noticed this with, so maybe you guys remember Megan and Soltram, who've been here a few times, and their little daughter, Sarah. So Sarah, on one visit, she had this stuffed animal with long ears, and Drupal was like, "Oh, come with me, like let's go walk," And so he said, "We can bring the rabbit with us," and he sort of took the rabbit by the ear. Or by the hand, by the arm, but sort of swinging the rabbit, and she was like, no, not like that. You can't carry the rabbit like that. You have to treat him like this. And she took him and was like very gentle and kind of caring and kind of, cradling the rabbit in her arms. And so he was like, wow, look at that, even just the imprint of caring for another being through the vehicle of this stuffed animal.
And then he's actually this interesting, so this kind of develop naturally, kind of love and compassion. So this depends on how they teach, Tiga na kita nggak tahu sampai movie tadi tadi orang kan scary movie itu, tadi tanah kau baca di sana movie orang, cik scary movie itu, atau violent movie itu, tapi na kau cik 다 차선도 그 지다 무비를 원에 말이 그 잡혀줘리 이나면은 그디 시카서 거래 직 출발되다 그 physically rough 나오지 근데 대오시다 매와 그지 용구이 거래스다 화자지 샤사 거래스디 디 화자디 야티 데데 그래서 아주 샘라
And so everything that we come into contact with, everything that we choose to expose ourselves to creates karmic imprint. So movies, media, all of the media and movies that we expose ourselves to creates karmic imprint. And so, watching violent movies, watching scary movies, like on the one hand, we might think like, oh, it's just a movie, it's not really real, but it does something. It puts an imprint, and if you notice how you feel after you watch like a violent movie or scary movie, there's something in the body that feels different. It's like kind of coarse, it's kind of rough. And that is a result of that imprint that you've just exposed yourself to for an hour and a half or whatever. And the feeling is there's this residual feeling from it. That's imprint. That's the sign of imprint happening there. So whatever we do leaves an imprint.
Tiga na dongji yor tadi arhadina da gelong ti maintain mendo. Ina yang tene Koran ke da kaduina tene Koran ke desa da chawa desa tende la tene kora to khangze da namji thangmo yin sarwa tene ji thawato de sala yang ko to me yo sa tende ko pa chigi yores kora yang tele de yores.
So I don't quite get this, but I think so. There was this.
To khangwa to me
Yeah,
yo
You mean like a bathing house?
no tene mari da ko me yo wa ro me to yo khamba the fire warm up.
Oh, okay. So there was.
ko da gendu to zola tawa to zola ta tindi konan ke me konsan do khamba yang mana the khamba be the karse go de good insulation khamba do tindi sogi yo sarwa.
Okay, so there was this monk who he made like a I mean, I don't think we have a name for it in English, but like a room for like that has like a fire, like maybe like a wood burning stove, to like really a warming house, like for people to come and like warm themselves up with really good insulation and with warmth, with fire in it. So, and his objective was to have, so that the other monks could come have a place to warm up. And he was staying in that house.
Also, he has Koran bed the past Chili or Sarawa. Kanda Konya Bajivares.
Okay, I'm so not following the thread here, but so he also had a lot of negativity, so he ended up being born in hell.
Tin yini yang ko ta ngemi khwacha de kar gom de yorsna ko thohan de la gendu thohan de yabo chuna do zam ta tin de do tin ko khwacha shuk chimbo yorwa tin ko nyarwa chawe nyarwe na ji som de tadon ko thohan de ta thohan yi samba do ma to ko nyarwe ki surwa de yomares yina ko ta ka tring de be thohan de be han sa chawo do ta be ma se chawo ka te chawo do zam gore ma to 코직 녀바지 소미키 등이 요마리 수가 녀바지 뜻도 그 조한테 배 차워도 올라버리마도 그 녀바지 위키 feeling the 요마리스.
So he really cared about this like warming house that he made for all of the monks, and so even though he had, I guess, like really intense past negative actions, but this was a kind of a positive intention that he had in building this room, and then he ended up his other negativity then ripened in the form of him being reborn in hell. And he was in hell, but because he had such a strong imprint around this warming house that he made for the monks, he still had the illusion that he was in the warming house for the monks. So even though he felt the heat of hell, he didn't realize he was in hell, and it wasn't, and so like sometimes it felt like, oh gosh, wow, the warming house is really hot right now. It really got a little bit too warm. But he still didn't realize that he was in hell. He still had this idea he was in the warming house that he had created for the monks. And that's also, like the imprint, the thing about imprint, like imprints are very strong.
Tikterite gamboba kisong yorwa khomba mai mar gomba mai khomba is khomba long to nyona gomba ing di yang tanda ranga so ji nyom ba pa sha da wo da pe da ji ji wo lo sha da lam sang ko ram pe da sang ji ro da tne yung yo mares gom ji di do do jil ta na nga gom cha ja chen bo zo pa chen bo gom de ya si yo mares yimbe ine ya ko ta khare khombe na je khom de tne 다 곰들이 랑란지 랑게 주는 자르바 아까라 근데 다 곰스나다 가린데 지도보다 가르치는 지도야 요레스.
So, as Gampopa famously said, it is not so much a matter of, so then again, you've heard this many times, and but it always has to be explained that this is in Tibetan a play on words, because the word for meditation and habituation are very, very close. So Gampopa says, it is not so much a matter of meditation as it is habituation. So those two words sound almost exactly the same in Tibetan. And it is through fully kind of stabilizing habituation,
or familiar or whatever.
habituation or familiarization, that it becomes meditation. So the process of meditation is actually habituation, and then meditation is like the stabilization of that. And so this is really true. It's not, we think, oh, meditation is like some concrete thing that we do, like, oh, we meditate on Dzogchen, we meditate
It's
on
quickly,
Mahamudra,
yeah.
and assume that that's like, we get that quickly, and then that's that, and we meditate on this concrete thing every time we do it. But rather, it's a matter of, familiarizing, habituating ourselves to the practice over time, and eventually, the result presents itself. But it is all about habituation. The entire path is a matter of building karmic imprints.
Tiga nang ita ti nenga chenpo shiure, ta nga zo di nyong mungba seya di pa ndu go na nyong mungba dubo re samne, ndu tobya ji yo ma re. Ti ni ta ti jenza di karsi na da dang hen seya ji tong go rwa, rang dang hen seya ji. Te tong yung be ka la, ko di naturally kari yor se na rang la cha da hen la dang deyo ji, le mungu yor es.
So also, on the negative side, like, to subdue the afflictive emotions, when there is the presence of the afflictive emotions is based on having a mind that is split into dualistic fixation. There's concept of self, there's concept of others, and then naturally from that there are all of the various versions of afflictive emotions that proliferate, because we are attached to our own well-being and benefit and averse to what we perceive as other or anything that threatens that.
Da diri ti kita karse gore antidote senanda karse tangi kontu na yere sanga chu de karela wina nansi takparam jam siya de ta tindu ta nansi sena le lo chikta ya chembo de wa yin bi yin na yang ta nga zo nyam ne chiya de karchi go sena hen la ta ra da na hen se yo hen tela ta nga zo tawa jin den go yo es. No matter kasina unconditionally ko hen tela ya bo re zaman ro ji ro wa ko the different anger, so jigmetic ko karina jig o ko medanga so da hansan o ko pe hansan control chore ndo ji sam go yona ya ko inchi mini control de ya bo re sam go marwa in o ko control da chawo yo re ina jetan ko mo chambo re ndo da ya ko la ya bo mejig le 100% du bo yo marwa yo mare mejig le 100% ya bo yo marwa 이네 양고 상보들라 가지고 로지 딱그 두보데 야보데 상가데 스칼레 가보데 메제 헤나나데 노 헤나나사 야보고디 고야 헤나나 야보데 상나 디스가서 칼레 요르와 테메나 콜로서노 지기 단지 간다 고 야보데 자 텐데 야보제 자나 코 카르스나 가츠 키 파이디 야보이나 두보이나 가츠기 가스나 주쇼 땅토야 이거 말와 이네 양 가츠 치테 헨 파죠 데라 야보레 유 야보레 semchen 야보레 현다 야보레 삼베 클로지 당와디 양양 된미나 니마지 ngaso sem도 짬마 차로 그래스 진짜디 다 딩아도 케킴보레스
Okay, tutu should have do it. So we want to, use our experience skillfully so that it always becomes a means to apply antidote. And so, for instance, the Dharma of secret mantra is so skillful because what we're doing is we're always transforming our perception into one of pure perception, where we are really perceiving things as, the vast expanse of innate purity, all appearance and existence as a vast expanse of innate purity. And so what that means is that we're overcoming that duality of self and other and attachment and aversion by essentially diminishing the aversion, because we're choosing to see the purity in all things, or we're choosing to perceive things purely, unconditionally. So that means, especially with others, that we are always choosing to see the positive of others, because, and so of course things are going to appear in a way that are negative. We're going to see the negative sides of people, for instance. But then we need to adjust our perception so that we're seeing from a different angle. So, for instance, if somebody's really angry a lot, they're kind of like a kind of a contrary and angry person generally. So that doesn't mean that we have to think that person's anger is good, but that person is not just an angry person. They've got a lot of good qualities too, always. And so instead of focusing on the anger, then we decide, that guy's kind of angry a lot, but, he's really honest. He's really honest, and I appreciate his honesty. So we can't see like the person as 100% bad, which is what we tend to do. We see something we don't like, and then we label that person this way. We label that person bad, and we forget to see their positive qualities. So we need to work to adjust our perception so that we're taking in the positive, which is sometimes, not easy, but we can do that, and so this is what our practice, especially on the path of Vajrayana, entails, is really seeing the purity of all beings. And then eventually the result of that is that by training the mind through positive karmic imprint to always focus on the positive, to always see the qualities in others, our mind is becoming cleaner and cleaner. And eventually, it is what our entire experience will become, is just pure perception, where we really see others in the purest light.
Okay. So now we read somewhere the animal realm.
The animal realms, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The animal realms is the last of the 3 lower realms, just before the human realm, the first of the 3 higher realms. While there are many amazing qualities and special abilities demonstrated by many animals, their lives are fraught with many sufferings, and they lack the refined intelligence that humans have to enable them to understand and enter the path of awakening. Some animals have incredible strength. Some have abilities that even humans do not possess, such as flying through the sky, swimming to the deepest depths of the ocean, having super-sensory abilities, perceiving non-human spirits and ghosts, or having the capacity to sense natural disasters such as earthquakes, floods, or tsunamis prior to their occurrence. Tiny creatures such as ants have the ability to lift objects many times their weight of their own bodies. Some animals such as mountain lions and leopards can jump extraordinary distances. Dolphins and elephants are remarkably sensitive and intelligent. There are many great talents and special abilities possessed by animals, and yet, according to the Buddhist view, being born as an animal is to be trapped in an inferior existence. That being said, bodhisattvas often take birth as animals and in other lower realms in order to serve the benefit of beings and to continue developing on the bodhisattva path. There are, for instance, many accounts of the Buddha's lifetimes prior to becoming the Buddha in which he was born as different animals. There are so many different types of animals. There are those who live in the water and those who live on dry land. There are two-legged animals, four-legged animals, multi-legged animals, and animals without legs. There are very big animals such as giraffes and elephants, and all sizes of smaller animals, down to the infinitesimally small microscopic animals that can't be seen by the naked eye. The overall experience of suffering that characterizes the suffering of animals is mental dullness and lack of developed intelligence. The specific types of suffering generally fall into one of three categories: the fear and terror of being preyed upon and eaten by other animals, being hunted and killed or butchered by humans, being bound into servitude by humans. Contemplating again and again the suffering of the animal realms, you can think, there is no satisfaction to be found anywhere among the 6 classes of beings in the 3 realms of samsara. As such, I shall incline my mind toward genuine renunciation and will dedicate my entire life to the path of liberation and awakening demonstrated by the Buddha.
Okay, so maybe keep going.
Sure, okay. The fear and terror of being preyed upon by and eaten by other animals. It is easy to recognize this kind of suffering just by watching the behavior of animals in their natural environments. When you spot a squirrel eating nuts or a lizard resting for a moment in the sun, their nervous energy is almost palpable. Often, just moments later, they are startled by something and scurry off. Imagine being a small rabbit living in the marsh in Florida, constantly living in fear of being chomped by an alligator, caught by a snake, or snatched up by a hawk flying overhead. Most all animals in the wild live in this constant state of fear. In the ocean, smaller fish are eaten by larger fish, while the larger are host to parasites and other smaller creatures. Being hunted or killed or butchered by humans. Animals are also terrorized by humans and sought after for their skin, meat, bones, tusks, and horns. Some are killed for body parts that can be used in medicines or cosmetics. They are hunted with nets and weapons or bred specifically for exploitation and slaughter. Clams are harvested for their pearls. Silkworms are killed in the process of making silk. Many animals are skinned for exotic hides or leather products, and others are hunted for their prized antlers or valuable tusks. In modern industrial agriculture, cattle farms, and poultry Factories confine animals in cramped spaces where disease outbreaks are common. The animals spend their lives in miserable conditions, subject to abuse and exploitation, with slaughter as their inevitable fate. Being bound into servitude by humans. There are animals who are domesticated and bound into servitude as livestock and pets. Horses, goats, cattle, donkeys, pigs, chickens, and so forth. They are pinned in by their owners, milked, prodded, castrated, whipped, pierced, branded, and tagged. They are forced to carry heavy loads and provide transportation, stripped of freedom and autonomy over their own lives. Even beloved pets, dogs, cats, caged birds, and others, despite receiving care, food, and affection from devoted owners, cannot roam freely in their natural environments. They must live under constant human control, their movements and choices restricted as if confined in a prison. In short, birth in any of the three lower realms ensures an existence dominated by intense and continuous suffering. Contemplating the profound dangers of such unfortunate rebirths should inspire fear of non-virtuous actions and negative mental states, motivating us to avoid them with unwavering determination. Contemplating again and again the suffering of the human realms, you can think,
Animal realms.
there is no satisfaction to be found anywhere among the three classes of beings in the three realms of samsara. As such, I shall incline my mind toward genuine renunciation and will dedicate my entire life to the path of liberation and awakening demonstrated by the Buddha.
Thank you, Steve. So we contemplate 10 minutes. Okay, so somebody read in the human realms.
Somebody online like to read?
I will, if that's okay. Can you hear?
Actually, we can't hear very well, though. Yeah. Let's see. Now maybe try. Was that Lisa?
Hello, sometimes I have issue with my audio.
Okay, we hear you okay now.
Okay, thank you. The human realms. As discussed in the first of the four thoughts that turn the mind, the difficulty of obtaining a precious human rebirth with leisures and endowments among the 6 classes of sentient beings in the 3 realms of samsara, taking birth as a human being is especially fortunate and precious. The support of a human body provides a unique basis for creating causes that lead to both temporary and long-term well-being and happiness. In general, human capacity and achievements are remarkable. When you consider the wealth of diverse ingenuity, discoveries, and accomplishments across technology, science, meditation, art, music, literature, and spirituality, it becomes clear that humans possess extraordinary capabilities that distinguish us from other life forms. From the Buddhist perspective, the most special quality of being human is the ability to understand karma, cause, and effect. Humans are capable of accurately identifying the true causes of happiness and achieving those causes, purifying the heart and mind, engaging in beneficial conduct that leads to happiness in this and future lives, as well as securing the ultimate, unchanging happiness of liberation and full awakening. That being said, the human realm is still inevitably fraught with many forms of sufferings, such as is the nature of samsara. While the 3 lower realms are characterized by ongoing, unbearable, relentless suffering, even in the 3 higher realms of humans, demigods, and gods, there is no escape from suffering. In the sutra, Nanda's entry to the womb, 8 specific types of suffering are mentioned that are inevitably experienced as human beings. These are 1, the suffering of birth, 2, the suffering of old age, 3, the suffering of sickness, 4, the suffering of death, 5, the suffering of not having what you want, 6, the suffering of meeting with what you don't want, 7, the suffering of chasing after what you want, and 8, the suffering of trying to protect what you have. Should I continue?
Yes, please.
The suffering of birth. Generally speaking, there are 4 types of birth: womb birth, egg birth, birth of the warmth and moisture, and miraculous birth. In the human realm, birth occurs through the womb. Prior to birth, when the consciousness is wandering in the bardo, it is looking for a place to attach itself. That experience, even prior to entering the womb, is one of great suffering. There can be all sorts of frightening appearances and sounds. The consciousness is blown about by the winds of karma until finally it lands in the conditions that will carry it into its next incarnation. If there is karma to be born as a human being, the consciousness is said to happen upon its future parents in an act of conjugal union. The family that you enter into is determined entirely by karma and the presence or absence of merit. If there is karma to be born male, it is said that in that moment, the consciousness is drawn to the mother and feels anger toward the father. If one has the karma to be female, the consciousness is drawn to the father and feels anger toward the mother. In this state of attachment and aversion, the consciousness is drawn in between the father's white bindu of seminal essence and the mother's red bindu of blood ovum as they bind together at the moment of conception. Following conception, all the successive stages of development in the womb are said to be experiences of pain and discomfort. Not only is it painful for the child in the womb, but pregnancy is also very uncomfortable for the mother. The process of formation itself is said to be painful, and once the fetus is fully developed, it is crunched up in one position with very little space to move, like being stuck in a tight bag. There are feelings of pressure, compression, and pinching every time the mother moves. If she drinks or eats something cold, there is a rush of cold. If she drinks or eats something hot, it is uncomfortably hot. When her belly is full, the fetus feels squeezed. For 39 weeks in the mother's womb, there is constant discomfort and difficulty. At 37 or 38 weeks, there is a surge of wind energy that prompts the fetus to turn around so that its head is facing downward. The compression and intense pressure can be overwhelming. Then, when labor begins, both mother and child face significant medical risks. The birthing process carries serious dangers that can threaten life rather than safely ushering in new life. Even when complications don't arise, the experience is excruciating for mother and baby. These days, with modern medical advancements, the risk factors in childbearing have been greatly diminished. However, given concerns about the medical industry's profit motives, it can be difficult to trust the guidance and advice of doctors, wondering whether medical practitioners truly have the best interests of both child and mother in mind. There are many causes of mothers advised to have surgery instead of giving birth naturally when they question whether this was truly necessary. Contemplating again and again the suffering of the human realms, you can think, there is no satisfaction to be found anywhere among the 6 classes of beings in the 3 realms of samsara. As such, I shall incline my mind toward the genuine renunciation and will dedicate my entire life path of liberation and awakening demonstrated by the Buddha. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so maybe someone or Lisa keep going.
Let's have someone else.
Okay, someone, yeah.
Okay, me or someone else? The suffering of old age. The moment we are born, we begin to age. From birth to about age 40 or 50, the body system is in a period of increase. Then it switches gears to decrease. Again, speeds up, and there is rapid decline. The subtle body, comprised of a network of channels, begins to deteriorate, and channels die off 2 by 2. Wrinkles start to develop, the hair turns gray, the skin complexion loses its luster and becomes muted and dull. We make all sorts of efforts to correct this process, putting our faith in expensive beauty products and special treatments that are eager to take our money, but ultimately don't help at all that much. In reality, the best beauty product for anti-aging is to meditate on love and compassion. In addition to this physical decline, as the body and mind are connected, the aging of the body also impacts the mind, which loses its sharpness. Short-term and long-term memory are often not what they once were, and it becomes difficult to stay up to speed intellectually. The sense faculties decline. There is hearing loss, loss of vision, and so on. When younger, there is not so much feeling of separation between people of different ages. But once you reach a certain point in the aging process, a gulf between the generations develops. The old often don't understand or approve of the ways of the young, and the young see the old as burdensome, outdated, and pitiful. With the arrogance of youth, the young have no basis yet for understanding the suffering of the old. Age. They don't recognize that their own process of aging, and so they don't easily have much compassion for the elderly. If the young make an effort, though, to cultivate love and compassion, they will be able to understand the suffering of old age and will recognize that it is their fate to experience the suffering of old age too. Rather than being repelled by and disparaging the elderly, they will have a sense of empathy and closeness and will feel impelled to look after and care for them. Contemplating again and again the suffering of the human realms, you can think, there is no satisfaction to be found anywhere among the 6 classes of beings in the 3 realms of samsara. As such, I shall incline my mind toward genuine renunciation and will dedicate my entire life to the path of liberation and awakening demonstrated by the Buddha.
Thank you, Lisa.
You're welcome.
And then we can read additional the Milarepa songs. So that to what download challenge up in Dolo ni Sadochi with Dolozum to some to some zombie to day Achi Julu Gubi Yi Pama Kipapa Ruby Yama Tanchik Na Shata Sibi Gontani Halenko Wolong Toyo Tanson some to some zombie to Tula Achi Medu Tombi Chonyerma Chilla Ruby Tulo Rupo Tanchik Tangi Tangla Nyobi Santung Tamatani Paku Shijorji Mesata Som the Som Zombie Tutula Achi Emi Chimgonji Dongdemas.
The chatsang young look na digger the yapoto song.
Explanation? Okay. I think really long, but that's okay.
But that's okay, not in Jigula.
Okay.
Okay, so what he's reading, this is actually in the Suffering of Old Age section of Patro Rinpoche's Words of My Perfect Teacher.
Yeah, this Milarepa song, right?
But this is a song that Milarepa sings to an old woman, and one of his 100,000 songs. And then there's also kind of the explanation of that comes. So I will read all of it in English. So it says, Jetsun Mila sings, 1. You stand yourself up as if pulling a peg from the ground. 2. You creep along as though you were stalking a bird. 3. You sit down like a sack being dropped. When these 3 things come together, Granny, you're a sad old woman whose illusory body's wasting away. 1. From the outside, your skin hangs and wrinkles. 2. From the inside protrude bones where flesh and blood have shrunk. 3. In between you're stupid, deaf, blind, and dazed. When these three things come together, Granny, your face frowns with ugly wrinkles. 1. Your clothes are so ragged and heavy. 2. Your food and drink is insipid and cold. 3. You sit on your mat propped up with skins on 4 sides. When these 3 things come together, Granny, you are like a realized yogi being trampled by men and dogs. I think that's a mistranslation, but anyway. In old age, when we want to stand up...
That's his explanation, now that's already...
So that's the song, and then this is the explanation. In old age, when we want to stand up, we cannot do it normally. All in one movement. We have to put both hands on the floor as though we were trying to pull a peg out of hard earth. When we walk, we stay bent over at the waist and cannot raise our heads. And being unable to pick up and put down our feet very quickly, we creep along gingerly like a child stalking a bird. All the joints in our arms and legs are so arthritic that we cannot sit down gradually. Instead, we let our whole weight crash down at once like a gunny sack as its sling breaks. As our flesh wastes away, our skin becomes lax, and our bodies and faces are covered in wrinkles with less flesh and blood around them, and all our joints become more prominent. Our cheekbones and all of our other bony protuberances stick out just under the skin. Our memory declines, and we become dull-witted, deaf, and blind. We cannot think clearly, and we feel giddy. With the decline of our physical vigor, there's little reason for us to want to look our best. So the clothes we wear are always heavy and ragged. We eat leftovers and have no sense of taste. All of the food we eat is cold and insipid. We feel so heavy that it is difficult to do anything. We prop ourselves up in bed on all four sides and cannot get up. By that point, our physical deterioration has brought on depression and terrible mental suffering. All the beauty and brightness of our faces has faded, our skin is covered in wrinkles, and our foreheads are lined with ugly frowns of ill humor. Everyone scorns us, and even if people are stepping over our head, we cannot get up. We no longer react. It is as if we were realized yogis for whom clean and unclean no longer exists. Unable to bear the suffering of old age, we want to die. But in fact, the closer we come to death, the more terrified we are of it. All of this makes the suffering that we have to undergo in old age not very different from the torments of beings in the lower realms.
Okay. Maybe that's not true. Right? That's not true. Very true. Okay, so okay, someone read a last one, and then we can sort of break. Tea break.
The suffering of sickness?
I can read the next one if nobody wants.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. As we all know, there are any number of different illnesses and disease that can strike at any time and any age. Contagious disease, which were at one point in time confined to one area of the world, now rapidly spread throughout due to the globalized nature of society and the expediency of travel. In the past, contagious illness did not spread as quickly and was more easily isolated and confined, but these days, the moment a new disease surfaces, it can quickly mushroom into a worldwide pandemic, as we saw so vividly during the rise of COVID. In general, there are so many terrible diseases, many that are difficult to cure, and the suffering endured while seriously ill can be excruciating both physically and mentally. Once seriously ill, one's entire life is interrupted, all of one's plans come to a halt, and often one is tormented at not knowing whether they will live to overcome the illness or not. One's life becomes consumed with doctors and hospital visits, endless tests and procedures, all sorts of medicines with uncertain side effects are prescribed. Beset with many uncertainties, often one feels they have no choice but to turn themselves over to the machine of the medical industry. Medical bills quickly pile up, and at every turn there seems to be some issue with one's medical insurance. With high hopes that all the medicines and procedures will help, oftentimes nothing ends up working, or the medicines and procedures themselves cause further complications. Sometimes, unable to recover, the outcome ends up being death. Contemplating again and again the suffering of the human realms, you can think, there is no satisfaction to be found anywhere among the 6 classes of beings in the 3 realms of samsara. As such, I shall incline my mind toward genuine renunciation and will dedicate my entire life to the path of liberation and awakening demonstrated by the Buddha.
Okay, keep going. Maybe the suffering of the death.
Okay. The suffering of death. When the time comes, no medicine or effort to prevent death from coming can prevent it. One's physical condition worsens and worsens. There is nothing and no one who can save you. At that time, there is tremendous suffering. One feels desperate, and no one, one feels desperate not to die and is terrified by what lies ahead. There is the pain of having to separate from loved ones and friends and leave all of one's wealth and possessions behind. There is the painful experience of witnessing the breakdown of one's own body. As the elements gradually dissolve, one has the terrifying sense of losing control, and it becomes apparent that one is departing from this world. Earth dissolves into water, and the body can no longer move. Water dissolves into fire. The mouth and nose dry up, and one can no longer swallow. Fire dissolved into wind. The body loses all its heat, and breathing becomes labored. Wind dissolves into consciousness, and the breath finally comes to a halt, and there is no in-breath following the last exhalation. After the moment of death, the consciousness must part from the body. Isolated and terrified, it continues on to wander in the bardo. Contemplating again and again the suffering of the human realms, you can think, there is no satisfaction to be found anywhere among the 6 classes of beings in the 3 realms of samsara. As such, I shall incline my mind toward genuine renunciation and will dedicate my entire life to the path of liberation and awakening demonstrated by the Buddha.
Thank you. So we 10 minutes.
Okay, so we'll, 10 minutes meditation, yeah.
Okay, so we sort of short break, come back 4.
So we'll come back at 4. Che mandone ge nga nga so ge kare mambo yorwa di announcement you know teaching go dai so do kan sa online ko so kana remember chin do ba ko ni te sa ho go che it's hard do mandone ge nga oh then yeah chokre ki radiation di che ko gre ta pola yorwa but nga so yorwa che to gre ji je la nga so ganne che ko ngani nyam de tene tata so okay
Okay, so thank you. Come back, and then I think somebody read. So we maybe no need to read the contemplation.
so
Again, is the only one need. Page 20.
So to page 20. So what he's saying is that there are these 4 sections in the suffering of the human realm: the suffering of not getting what you want, the suffering of meeting with what you don't want, the suffering of chasing after what you want, and the suffering of trying to protect what you have. So at the end of each of those sections, right now we have the paragraph that says contemplating again and again the suffering of the human realms. So he said, whoever reads that, skip that paragraph that says contemplating again and again at the end of each of these sections, and then only read it at the very end before we get to the demigod realms. And actually there it's written twice, so you can cross one out and just read once. So, okay, Beverly will read. Thank you, Beverly.
The suffering of not getting what you want. We know the pain of this one all too well. So much of our lives is spent with some level of craving. We desire things we don't have, and if we succeed in getting a hold of them, they often fall short of our expectations and leave us with feelings of disappointment. If we don't succeed in getting a hold of what we want, the volume of the craving often intensifies until it becomes unbearable. Sometimes there is a low-level craving for this, that, or the other. And sometimes the craving is so intense it becomes obsessive. We crave comfort, wealth, health, love, success, beauty, popularity, and a number of different pleasurable sense objects. The manifestations of craving are endless, from the small craving of longing for something to drink when they're thirsty, to the desperate craving of unrequited love. When we take time to look at the quality of craving, it is not difficult to identify its painful nature. The description of craving and attachment
Deception
of craving and attachment is that they falsify promise of happiness. We believe that if we can get a hold of that thing we are wishing for, then we will feel satisfied and happy. So when we're not able to get what we want, we suffer. When we mistakenly believe it is the absence of the object we desire that is causing our suffering, rather than the craving itself. On the other end of craving, we have aversion. Our experience is usually somewhat along the spectrum between these two polarities. Aversion is rooted in hatred. Just as we attach to and fixate on objects of our desire with longing, we attach and fixate on the object of our aversion with hatred. The discomfort of being stuck with things we don't want and feel an aversion towards can be very painful. As much as we wish to align everything in our lives so that we always have what we want and never have to suffer, despite the glaring reality that this is impossible, we still believe it will somehow work out the way if we just get things to align perfectly. As a result, we are continually surprised, disappointed, and distraught when we encounter things we don't want. Even as Buddhists, after reading countless books and receiving numerous teachings on empty promise and unsatisfactory nature of the 8 worldly concerns, the pain of being caught up in them, the ambition and drive to achieve them seems almost hardwired. We often simply replace the worldly content of these concerns with the content dressed in Dharma trappings. Striving after what we think will bring happiness is painful. The chase is exhausting and wasteful. We exert tremendous effort to achieve what the ego needs for self-ratification. Reification. Whether or not we acquire what we want, the pursuit itself embodies the nature of suffering. When we occasionally succeed in acquiring objects we work hard to obtain, whether wealth, possessions, people, fame, status, beauty, sources of pleasure, we become burdened with the pressure to maintain and preserve them. Since the nature of all things are impermanence, we know on some level that it is impossible to keep hold of everything we've achieved. This brings with our success a deep-seated sense of insecurity and stress as we strain at all costs to avoid losing what we've managed to gain. Contemplating again and again on the suffering of human realms, you think there is no satisfaction to be found anywhere among the 6 classes of beings in the realms of samsara. As such, I will incline my mind towards genuine renunciation and will dedicate my entire life to the path of liberation and awakening demonstrated by the Buddha.
Thank you, Beverly.
Thank you, Beverly.
So maybe somebody read next demigod round.
I can read it.
3.5, the demigod realms. The demigod realms, also known as the jealous god realms or the asura realms in Sanskrit, are one of the 3 higher realms, and yet the experience of the beings who take birth there is fraught with intense suffering because they are consumed by jealousy towards the gods who live just above them. It is said that the demigods put great effort into watering the roots of a giant wish-fulfilling tree. They wish to enjoy the fruits of this tree but never get the chance to, because the branches that bear fruit do not blossom in their realm, but in the god realms just above them. So they toil and slave to maintain this precious tree that the gods then get to enjoy the benefit of. Due to this, they become enraged with anger and jealousy and wage war with the gods, but because their power and splendor falls short of that of the gods, They can never manage to defeat them. Although they have merit that ripens in the form of wealth, beauty, and comfort, they are endlessly tormented by the afflictions of anger and jealousy internally, and they inevitably fall into lower realms upon death once the merit exhausted.
Is exhausted, yeah, should be.
Do you want me to read contemplating or 3.6?
Yeah, contemplating it is.
Contemplating again and again the suffering of the demigod realms, you can think, there is no satisfaction to be found anywhere among the 6 classes of beings in the 3 realms of samsara. As such, I shall incline my mind toward genuine renunciation and will dedicate my entire life to the path of liberation and awakening demonstrated by the Buddha.
Keep going. You want?
3.6, the God realms. There are essentially 3 levels of God realms. There are the 6 God realms of the desire realm, the 17 God realms of the form realms, and the 4 abodes of formless absorption of the formless realms. 3.6.1, the God realms of the desire realm. These God realms are extremely divine celestial abodes. There is an abundance of perfection and pleasure. The beings there are all exceedingly beautiful. They have all the wealth and enjoyments anyone could ever wish for. If they desire something, it is acquired upon wishing for it. Taking birth in this realm is the ripening of a tremendous amount of worldly merit all at once. The beings in this realm live for an extraordinarily long period of time, but caught up in their bliss and pleasurable sensory experiences, they don't have much opportunity to accumulate merit. Instead, they are enjoying the fruits of their past merit as it gradually becomes exhausted. Just prior to the end of their very long lifespans, the gods experience a tremendous amount of suffering as it becomes painfully apparent that all the merit they've been enjoying up to this point is finally coming to an end, and there is no possibility for them other than to fall into lower states upon dying and being reborn elsewhere. It is said that a week in God time, prior to their death, the gods start to see signs of their approaching death. Their flower garlands that were once perpetually fresh begin to wilt. They start to emit a foul body odor, when prior to that, throughout their lives as gods, their bodies only gave off pleasant and fragrant aromas. They become drained of the radiant light that once illuminated their complexions. Their divine garments that were always spontaneously fresh and vibrant become old, stained, and smelly. They start to sweat, which is an experience previously unknown to them. Due to their foul smell, wilted flowers, tattered appearance, and so on, all the other gods that had once been their dearest friends and companions are suddenly repelled by them and won't come near. Isolated and distraught, they are terrified by their looming fate. The suffering of the gods during this point at the end of their lives is said to be equivalent to the agony of the hell realms. The 6 God realms of the desire realm are the God realm of the 4 great kings. According to Buddhist cosmology, this realm is said to be located upon the 4th terrace of Mount Meru. It is the realm presided over by Vishnu, and 50 human years equal 1 day. The God realm of the 33. This realm is said to be located at the summit of Mount Meru. It is presided over by Indra, and 100 human years equal 1 day. The God realm free from strife. This realm is named such because it is free from the strife of warring with the demigods. It is said to be located in the sky just above Mount Meru. 200 human years equal 1 day in this realm. The joyous God realm, also popularly known as Tushita in Sanskrit, is where the Buddha traveled to give teachings to his mother who had been reborn there in order to bring her onto the path of awakening. 400 human years equal 1 day in this realm. The God realm of enjoying emanations. In this realm, the gods entertain themselves by projecting all sorts of supernatural emanations. 800 human years equal 1 day in this realm. The God realm of controlling others' emanations. In this realm, the gods enjoy magical emanations projected by other gods. 1,600 human years equal 1 day in this realm. Contemplating again and again the suffering of the God realms, you can think, There is no satisfaction to be found anywhere among the 6 classes of beings in the 3 realms of samsara. As such, I shall incline my mind toward genuine renunciation and will dedicate my entire life to the path of liberation and awakening demonstrated by the Buddha.
Okay, thank you, Dada. So maybe somebody read next one.
The God realms of the form realm.
So 3.6.2, the God realms of the form realm. The beings of the form realms are not subject to the same sensual desires and physical limitations as the gods of the desire realms. Their bodies are extremely subtle forms, and their experience is a blissful meditation-like state of experience, of existence. The merit that leads to being reborn in these realms is often the result of cultivating deep states of meditation. Although these realms and the formless realms are realms connected with meditative states, they still do not transcend the confines of samsara. Beings can remain for inordinate periods of time in the blissful absorption of these realms. But when their merit is exhausted, they will fall into coarser states of being within samsara. There are said to be 17 subtle realms of being that comprise the God realms of the 4 realms. These are the 3 realms that correspond with the first dhyana, the 3 realms that correspond with the second dhyana, the 3 realms, that corresponds with the third dhyana, the 3 realms that corresponds with the 4th dhyana, and the 5 pure abodes. Keep going. The God realms, 3.6.3, the God realms of the formless realms, bless you. These realms are even more refined and subtle than the abodes of the form realms. The beings here possess no physical form at all and only experience mental phenomena like consciousness and perception. The states of existence for the beings of these realms are the result of meditating on the formless absorptions. They're very high states of consciousness, but still do not transcend the confines of samsara. In fact, such deep states of meditation are said to present potential dangers for meditators seeking liberation and awakening if their meditation does not evolve beyond the dhyanas and the 4 formless absorptions, leading them to freedom and awakening through penetrating insight. The 4 formless abodes are limitless consciousness, limitless space, neither perception nor perception, non-perception, nothing whatsoever. Contemplating again and again the suffering of the God realms, you can think, there is no satisfaction to be found anywhere among the 6 classes of beings in the 3 realms of samsara. As such, I shall incline my mind toward genuine renunciation and will dedicate my entire life to the path of liberation and awakening demonstrating by the Buddha.
You can skip, obviously, the repeat of that. And then the conclusion.
Conclusion of the faults of samsara, on the faults of samsara. As long as we stay caught in the illusion that there is true happiness to be found in samsara, as long as we crave existence and perpetuate it in doing so, there will be no end to suffering. No matter where we take birth in samsara, there will be pain. Temporary experiences of relief and happiness always cycle back to immense suffering at some point in time or another. Contemplating the undeniable faults of samsara, you should give rise to a deep sense of disenchantment. And like a person with hepatitis, turning away in disgust from a plate of greasy food, you can think again and again. There is no satisfaction to be found anywhere among the 6 classes of beings in the 3 realms of samsara. As such, I shall incline my mind towards genuine renunciation and will dedicate my entire life to the path of liberation and awakening demonstrated by the Buddha.
Okay, thank you. So now we finish the reading. So if some questions or discussion or comments.
And also just know that what we'll do with these materials is Drupal Rinpoche and I will go over them like tomorrow, and we'll kind of clean them up a little bit, and then we'll also create for you guidelines for, just like we've done with all the other sections, so that you have a formula for when you do your personal retreat on this, on reflecting on the 4 thoughts of samsara, the faults of samsara. And then we also, because now I know there's been a lot of discussion about, can this all be in one document, please, Yvonne? No, I just know you were mentioning that a lot. So now we can do that with the 4 thoughts that turn the mind, because we have all the materials. So in the coming weeks, I will compile all of the 4 thoughts that turn the mind, go over them again with Drupal Rinpoche. We will clean them up a bit, maybe add a few things, maybe subtract a few things, and hopefully before our goal will be to definitely have it before we start refuge, and then you will have the 4 thoughts that turn the mind all together as one book, essentially one document, and that will be made available as soon as we can.
Okay, there's a couple questions online. Victoria asks, what prayer should we say to help hungry ghosts and beings from the lower world? How can we as ordinary practitioners help them? Is it possible to dedicate part of our food to them? And there was a follow-up question. Can we do the food prayer? Would that help?
I'm sorry, can you read just one more time?
What prayer should we say to help hungry ghosts and beings from the lower world? How can we as ordinary practitioners help them? Is it possible to dedicate part of our food to them? And can we recite the meal prayer found on the GBI? Can that also help the hungry ghosts?
Okay, good question. So, that jitanga to the rate to that kandi chivi nanga to ji chunyamne but the molam tombina tinana yores then a particular kind of aspiration tandanga to longo yorwa that tinana tini be peng yore tagana ji kitandanga jiren sek that jiren sek di ko karsenam 이게 중마 맞다 많이 둡chen 나 요와 텐데 코르와레 코토그나라 고지 이다 지구 말에 드니 팽기요레스 드니 드가나 이게다 지금 가서 드니 템바다 희긴 세야레다 템바 드니 지 뒤남 준도 드니 지 템베 지심비 토네 참바 보면 대가나 이게 단다 전화라바나 이래 되는 거 저기 세 소위가 있나요? 지 컨트롤러야 처벌해야 대단냠들라 당가 저단다 굿 오버 어머니 빼면 홍세야 대동미나 되네 지 단기 컨트롤러나리아 컨트롤 솜라 제탕가 저다 처벌 푸시기 유들란 처벌 풀럽도 제탕가 저 가두임비나요? 좀 처벌 풀야들라 that you guess don't number handle this.
So in general, there are different ways that we can dedicate with different prayers for hungry ghosts and other beings. Like, there is, of course, the benefit of reciting like the common meal prayer. But in general, in particular, so aspirations for the 6 classes of sentient beings, what is said to be kind of the most effective and benefiting all 6 classes of beings of the 6 realms is Chenrezig and the Mani mantra, because the Mani mantra is called the 6-syllable mantra, right? And 6 syllables that correspond, with the 6 classes of sentient beings of the desire realm. And so when we recite that, there is the benefit, and especially when it's like dedicated to those beings, then it has the benefit of, helping the beings not to be born, for instance, in the realm of hungry ghosts, and so to maintain mindfulness and awareness, and to make offerings of like say our food to the 3 jewels, and then to also recite the Mani mantra and to dedicate the merit of our practice to beings of the 6 realms of sentient beings, and in particular those beings in the lower realms and hungry ghosts, because whenever we offer, actually any offering that we do, there are the 4 guests who are the recipients of our offering. So those being like the exalted guests of the 3 jewels, and then also one of the guests, the Dharma protectors, so the exalted guests of the 3 jewels, and then secondly the Dharma protectors, and then beings of objects of the object of our compassion, the sentient beings of the 6 realms, and karmic creditors, in particular also like karmic creditors and those with whom we have karmic debts.
단다다 extensive 로치나 머니도 첸데 배자첸보레스 다 무슨 동구요레 근데 드가나 이응가조다 디 공다 탄다 지렌스 두파 아tin 퍼북 디나요와 디 트위스텔 농구요로 와다 디나나더니 미그램 요레 코레레 힌도 워저 트루니라와 다 가조디 가조 만동 랑 지렌스 공 지렌스 이게 투메 워저 트루네더니 지 타크 유를 포는데 타케테네 지보둥지 라소다 단가서 둥이 당성티 둥이 참마야 장테네 라미 테네 무유 테네 tundu유 테네 예다유 테네 녀비유 다 담비를 테네 대과 장성 잠바티니 워저 투네 테네 제야 백평천 모레스.
So in particular, things like, for instance, the Mani Drupchen that we do together, there's a really tremendous benefit in praying at that time and doing the visualization of Chenrezig, reciting the mantra, and then like dedicating for all sentient beings of the 6 realms. And in particular during that, and then also we have like the abbreviated versions of Chenrezig practice, like what we practice together here on Tuesday evenings, for instance. So there's this section of what's called the emanating out and gathering back in that happens actually in any generation stage practice. But for instance, when we do the Chenrezig practice, so first we visualize that light rays stream out from the Hri syllable at the heart of Chenrezig. That's, we're visualizing ourselves as in the form of Chenrezig. Those light rays stream out and they go, to all of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas gathered in the 10 directions. It strikes them and sort of invokes their blessing, which then returns in the form of light and dissolves again into the seed syllable. And then a second time we visualize those light rays emanating out. And this time, those light rays go out to all the sentient beings of the 6 classes, the 6 realms of samsara. And so we can visualize each one, like they're going to, the hell realms, and then the realms of hungry ghosts, and the realms of animals, and so forth. And we can visualize all those beings having their obscurations and defilements purified by the light rays, and then they transform into Chenrezig after all of their obscurations have been purified, and then that light gathers back into our heart. And so this part of the practice, that is the emanating out and gathering back, is really effective. It's very powerful. So when we are really mindful, when we do that part of the practice, it has a lot of power.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Okay. Michelle asks, does that mean that we have to see that our government officials also have good qualities, even though a lot of their decisions and actions are harmful and cause many to suffer?
So the si jungi korla samotangna tini yang si jungi bombo de sola yang kongso me semte mambo la nuba tangi yona yang kongso yang yonden yoba yang dushi che go greve.
That thing is a tango, bro. So the form of the country. Jacob de Gona, Jacob de Tegas, Jacob say, you have a Yomarwa. Jacob Yomaris. The Jacob de la Pombo go yore, co telesum judging your mamma go or Lekaling go with Tindi, you know, Jacob de Chabrawa. Tindi Jacob de Yorwa, that tell a Kaditango growa. In a commercial perfect day, Yomarwa. Yimi in a yanko, Tanda Jacob Yoro, Jacob Kaborwa.
So in general, he said, we have this reality where it's like, we're divided into countries. And so in general, it is important to have some overall sense of gratitude for your country and the leaders of your country, because the country then also has like a military, and it has the people who like protect the country. And so of course, like all of the leaders and the people who are in power are not perfect. They're far from perfect. There are issues, but to have kind of an overall sense of gratitude for one's country and the leaders of one's country is good.
Right, so the necessity, so I have this experience, I don't have the country, how difficult it is, so we go to India, you are a refugee, you are not Indian, and we go to Nepal, no, you are not Nepalese, this the different refugee, or you cannot go this way, you cannot go this way, So wherever you go, there's no country is very difficult. So if we have to have country, and they have to have the government, So yes, one hand is, there is issues, but nevertheless, so we have country, so we appreciate, so yeah.
Javier has his hand up for a while. Javier, can you unmute?
Yes, thank you, Dripaula. I have 2 questions. The first one, very fast, regarding to the subject of the photo. Where do you recommend that we can put our living Guru Master in the altar? Is the first question.
I am so sorry. I did not understand that.
Where?
Maybe in Spanish.
Okay. About the photos of the put in the altar. Where we can put our living Guru Master photograph.
The photo of our living guru. Yeah.
Exactly.
Our living master.
It's
Yeah.
good to put in the altar. or what he recommend? This is the
Right,
first
because
question.
of what he said earlier.
Exactly.
Penangato lama che yang tenda de par yona teni de pena alter
Okay.
gi korla che jamanda tenda par jaya la sopa che ya yomare la yorwa. Teni de ngato pena lama tenda de mi yemba gi lama che yona teni de alter la kapar jaya yore.
Ora na sha deres. The
Bit
lama
dinda.
life. Lama life
Yeah.
himbi jumsana dene ko lama thala tengyore, lame chu nangyore. Ko ta kati sumden la gore, kati sum da man dena mandena ko thambe chu ji tiwi khula kati samji me chavres. Ko kati thembi chi tola. Tene lama te thembi chi tola tene lame parte pe khe chambores. Chavures.
So kung so tongna?
Ah,
Kung so tongna chik parebe.
mamta thangpo te.
Okay. Okay, so first of all, when your lama is alive, so yes, actually, it is really important to like treat that photo, the photo of your lama, with reverence, because a spiritual teacher is the one who teaches us the Dharma. So they are endowed with the 3 types of kindness, and so it's really important to like reflect on and remember their kindness. And so it is absolutely fine to put the picture of your living spiritual teacher on the altar.
Tene da karsena nga zo di jatang lame ki picture na xa na degrees kenzi lama chombi na yina yang da nga zo nga xie ke lama ti ke kundra xingya dang tene lama ti ke da tala korang so dungte tangi kong xiwa nang le da dungte ina le gudung ina le choten xingya tene yorwa da ti ko jik ko lama kora individual ko nga zo hengug le lawya da hengug mare lawya yung zigres.
So I'm not entirely sure I got this. Maybe you say in English.
In the barn of Hanan, it is Lama Tonsana.
Okay, and even if they pass away, it is also okay to keep their photo on the altar.
Yina yang ta ash da wota. Yang mena nga so ina kok nyama kumadung law da tendi ketene choten xingya ta. Tene ash tela choten xingya ta ku xingya yores. Te ta xingdang me yin se do dependi lama ti kita ko thongren kala kharchi go tin la sigris.
But if it when it comes to like putting maybe their remains or certain pieces of them or their belongings or something like in holy objects, like in statues or in stupas or in in statues or stupas, that depends on what the lama says. So if they give
so this horde the lama la choten ji hingruati choten hing gudong lam na la me gudong lam na tene choten ji hing la me ke dung the to tina la lo
dung ter ka re ha ko ma sam okay.
So this depends, so sometimes we do lama past. So sometimes I think long ago these lamas, whole body keep, and then they put the stupa. And sometimes like they call the ringse, whatever ash, and put the build of the stupa, So those are, I think, depending. Whatever lamas before he passed, the kachems na kare.
So if he leaves like kind of like a will or a testament that says to do these things.
And sometimes, like we see, I think these lama passed in the cremation, then they have a lot of relics,
Like there are special relics sometimes.
Yeah. There are a lot of relics, different relics. If you have the relics, then you can build the stupa,
Like if it's clear that they're relics.
Put in the statue. And also the lamas, they build the image, So those is actually a cautioning. And also I think before lama passed, what he recommended, So these days do a lot of things. And also this is some like, for instance, like Tuan Boche and some this, I know no more reincarnation, So
yeah.
So they have a lot of like, before the past Lama, they have, what they call the English, this, they call Kachems Hagro, what called it?
I think we say like testament, right? Or sort of like final words, right? The instructions before they die.
Oh, that's good.
They have certain instructions that they give. So for instance, what he was saying is like, there are some lamas such as Drubang Rinpoche who was very clear before he died. He said, don't look for my reincarnation. I'm not coming back. Rebe.
Right, yeah, and also
Yeah.
the Kenshin Jingmi Punso Orwa.
And Lomchen Gyalpo Rinpoche also.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so those are, so these,
And
so,
Kimbo Jigme Punso.
yeah, these are, depends whatever you say, you know.
So that, yeah,
No.
whatever they say, we follow that.
So like Shongyang Trungpa and then Jojo Khyentse, did they read the instructions?
That's, I don't know.
No, right? They
Huh?
didn't do that? I think I saw a documentary and they burned them, but then they kept all of the stuff. Right?
What's that?
I thought that because there's all this documentary that when Julian Rupa died, there was all these rainbows and all these auspicious, like people came from all over. Same thing with Diljo Khyentse. So I'm just curious what happened like with them.
Yeah, yeah,
You mean
they
what
say
happened with their relics and things?
Yeah, like did they do that or not?
Did
Yeah,
they
so
put
these
them
also
in?
these kind of
Probably.
interesting things. The Lama's relics and the special things, you know, these days, so sort of like everything is online. Okay, show this one. But usually it's never show, you know, like kind of whatever these, the men, like for example, monastery, right? So this kind of main person, they keep, you know, these
Kind
kind
of
of really
secretly.
the special object, but like not advertising, oh, they have Lama, this relic, this. These days we see, you know, show, but even though like Lama pass, right? So these days show, oh, he's meditate, you know, after pass. But
Tugdam.
Tugdam. But Tibetan, usually, not Tibetan, I think, usually monastery never say Lama pass, that's it. So they say, if Tugdam say,
The
so you
details
cannot
are-
see that this Lama, that's it, other than just very keep. So actually this is then this more blessing, you know.
It's kind of private.
Right, in the private, and then this counter, this saying spread everybody. So then this counter outside, these people said, oh, good, bad, or maybe these two, this did not two, or yes,
It
this
invites
is really
lots of
special, or
speculation.
this is real, but the like all conflict, you know. So maybe this some will be help the devotion, but some kind of they're the mixing things, you know. So then maybe not good. So yeah.
Now we have Roman and then Yvonne.
Hi. I actually had a question related to something that you spoke about yesterday, Drupon, in terms of the things that we can do when a loved one has passed. When we have like animal companions and we want them to also have a more beneficial rebirth, can we do something similar for them, or is that something that's reserved for human beings?
When you have an animal, can you do what? I'm sorry.
So the 49 days in the bardo and like the prayers to benefit them, is that something you can also do for animal companions, or is that limited to human beings? It's just
Yeah.
Right, I think the first question, Terawa, Tangin Zo Lavia, ordinary person of Pariame Ayo Maris Telabius, Parda, the Ash that so Teresa.
No, did lot masong. De pena gainsena de pena meche shina.
The first question,
Did pater lot masong. Oh. Well, and then was there something about the photo
so this,
and
yeah,
everything?
right. So
Okay.
I think before I saying this, we don't keep, you know, order in the and don't keep the photos or so I mainly I say the ordinary person, you know. So maybe Lama is a little bit different.
Didn't lot masong. The animal gikorla lot.
Okay, you don't have to. That and question more colors animal.
So
that the animal la ko jatanga zata according to the human being wa yina yang ko animal la ta tinri 49 days monab jatona pay bodies.
So absolutely, you can do the same practice for the animal, like you do for human beings, and like for the 49 days, praying for them and doing practice to support them through the bardo. You can most certainly do that, and it will help. It will benefit them.
제가 나 이까지는 다 제통 전에 뭐람 가도 있는 잠나 되기리 서 이나 가서 후메 비나 그 코디나 리스트야 투수다 다 요마로 그 디펜스 리스트 이나 고마라 가와 잠나 파도 요나다 되네 제와 가와레나 고마라 잠나 팽기오레스
And so essentially, actually, any time that you pray for beings who have passed, like whether it's during the 49 days or even after the 49 days, it will still benefit them. Your prayers and practice can still benefit them, like, long into the future, in fact.
Okay.
We spend a lot of time talking about, the health, and how we can help the hungry ghost. But I'm curious about, what takes people to be reborn in the God realms and how can we help them? Because once they exhaust their good karma, they're going all the way down. And, they're beings too. And the other part of the question is, so when they talk about the Buddhist cosmology, it says that Vishnu is in the God realm of the 4 great kings, and Indra is in the God realm of the 33. And I always had this question in my mind, like what does human gods refer to? So I would assume Vishnu and Indra, are human, what they call human gods, right? And we should not confuse them with enlightened beings. So they still alive in their kalpa?
Is what?
Are we assuming that they're still alive in their kalpa right now? And how can we help all these guys,
Dene de flayu la chewe gimi kongso la yang penanga zo o de ngin son sung gitunga mangpola kira yini yang ditso pena flayu la chewa lempe kongso la yang roba gogiyo sare dene kongso yang monam biaya ke chimbo yojire kongso yang roba cheya kichiru kande che gogare dene yang de pena description yorwa dene de pena wang chin dang tenda de yang kongso de flayo yang pena de gaware ji yang de Vishnu so de gyurwatri yang de la yo sum yang tenda de Hindu la shimbache yorwa adeni ngato gadina pena o deni yang de nune fla rawo tenda korwe ge fla rawo yena ngato tenda kyabro che ya yo mare kongso korwa la de yo mare tene kongso digi dunda insare kongso denda rawo pena yang kongso yang roba che ya ki chidu nga so kande che tukare
re da tere singa ta je tang khadui na nga so rek tho slab yorwa rek tho ki chi ma ho be ke ta je yarwa ma chi ya ta chi ji go la gu yo mare ina da chon la ba dem ba res la gewa sa ne 티 kindu dewa nyongore dewa de pagil hechu chin zongro gres yina ya ta nyarwa da wina ko mege weke sa ne driviti nyarwe na la migri ti na nyarwe na la mege wa sog mar ko khale changro ya yores ko dawo cha de yores ti ndu ta ndo du ina mono ja chi pa ja gres je wa.
So absolutely, that's right. And this is because to your point, and we put all this emphasis on the 3 lower realms, but right. But we put the emphasis on the 3 lower. You said, but the 6 realms, like all 6 realms, are really equivalent in their suffering if you think about it, because he said, even though the gods are temporarily experiencing a lot of pleasure and happiness and enjoyment, that's the ripening of merit, and they get to temporarily have a break, and enjoy the pleasures of the God realm. But when that merit is exhausted, they will definitely fall into lower realms again, because there's no merit any longer to support that level of pleasure and happiness. And actually in the 3 lower realms, like in the hell realm, even though there's incredible torment and pain and suffering, those beings are purifying their negative karma through their hell-like experience. So after that, all their negativity is purified through the suffering of the hell realms, their experience will be to go up into higher states of existence, because that karma has been largely purified. So really, when you think about it, it's the same. It's just this endless cycling through ripening of positive or ripening of negative karma at different periods, and there's kind of a level of equality there if you think about it.
Tiganayda morang telabos around dollars, telabor and dollar rate of donkam class. A mule had a marwakin and donkam class.
So you mentioned human gods, but he thinks that what you meant was like gods of the desire realm. So, yeah.
That the desire realm, the carry lavina, in a halayan necessary, sama dini, Koma Sandroya in Samaris. Karsina Consoya, Benachana, Sumchis of Somroina, Sanji Pe, Chu Sunguyore, Tene, Sampatan Diaji, and Datene, Sanji La Tambo Chu Kolo Korea, say Chu Shuguyore, Kotua Martin Chitene, Kotua Mundo, Tua Tu in the Yungudoa, Mukutua Tu in the Tene, Ojindaton, Sacho Korochi La. Tinichigoa. Tinita con dollars and donkam platijiva imba, Tini Saris. Tine more caution check the Karsena Gazota, for great kingdom, in a thing of jump daughter, to now jam rope maris. In a young whole great king la soba, to Zola Nazota, Dharma protector, Chigora, Bennett, whole great Tendina, whole gatekeeper, Nazota, Zumbling, Dike, Karsegota, Jikarsego. The gatekeeper of Chadi Gores.
So it is, and it isn't always the case that the beings in the God realms are going to, that they can't go kind of higher or still come into contact with the Dharma. There are some occasions, like for instance, the Buddha traveled to to Shita and taught the Dharma, and benefited the beings there and brought them onto the path of awakening. So it does occasionally happen. Another example is that, so the gods, you mentioned, Vishnu and Indra, of those realms actually were the first ones who came to the Buddha, or said to be the first ones who came to the Buddha after the Buddha attained enlightenment, and he wasn't planning to teach the Dharma, and they supplicated the Buddha to turn the wheel of Dharma. And so they also, it's like those gods of those realms don't necessarily fall down. However, they are not appropriate objects of refuge for us, because they are still within the confines of samsara. So in terms of like liberation and enlightenment. But like for instance, the God realm of the 4 great kings. So the 4 great kings are actually said to be like gatekeepers of the world system. And so they're actually like protectors who can provide help and protection and assistance, but they still fall short of being appropriate objects of refuge for beings seeking liberation and awakening.
제가 나이 whole Greek keeper다 지 nor clarwa no latinida ngaso wealth energy tindi consulti to yake ni bayosares.
And they have they're also they are great wealth deities, so they also have the power to give abundance and material wealth and assistance in that way to beings.
Thank you, Drupal Rinpoche, for these teachings, and thank you, Virginia, for translating. Question is, you mentioned the best way to spread ashes of someone who's been cremated is in the ocean. Why is that?
I think this, the physically, right? Physically our body. So physically our body is compounded by the 5 elements, right? So fire, water, earth, what is the space, wind. So they died, and then it's kind of like wind dissolves, fire no longer there, and the water no longer there. So the liquid remaining is the ash in the earth. So these kind of like nature dissolves into the ocean. So yes, of course we can put in the ground, that's okay, but it's more provide, you put in the ocean, so they provide the entire earth, so that's, I think, the reason.
Thank you. And
And
John,
also the consciousness, the kind of merging into the sky.
thank you. John Allen has a question. John, can you please unmute yourself?
Yeah, can, Lisa,
He stepped
can
away.
you unmute?
Yes, okay. DuPont, based on previous teachings and text, hungry ghosts are described as having enormous stomachs, tiny mouths, and long necks. So I'm looking for clarity in regard to what that can be offered. And what my understanding is that they cannot be offered human food because of the nature of how they are, but they can be offered things like saliva. I know it's disgusting and I don't even like to talk about it, but they can be offered things like saliva and other human excrements. Can you clarify this? Is this appropriate or not? Thank you.
Tati zo tiri steri doda re chono la bana yire jetang da yeda kare to tsama la nga so jetang yeda ina re tene paduk semjen ina re tene nga so ta ko physically food ta ko often chigi yo marwa chigi yo mari sna china ko so tog marwa yimi ina ya ta tanda di high realization ahad loina ta khandi jigla blessing china de gore ko jimba tana jimba blessing cheya yujire slava ina slava la ko te blessing chigo jire ina da ngachu ki karchi thoya yore lawina ta karina manutong tene ngachu ji en choba la physically choba ro kar phugu na te phu tel omani beme ho tong me kwa tele yida la mena tene ko khan thobati tene ko thobu yo sares.
So that's right.
Yeah.
Like, and there are the physical kind of obscurations of the bodies of certain hungry ghosts prevent them, from being able to take ordinary food. But actually, whether it's hungry ghosts or beings in the bardo, and so what you're speaking of, actually, that's really like for like highly realized beings like arhats. They have the power and the ability to like dedicate, or offer their saliva, offer their urine, offer their excrement, that so that it becomes sustenance for the beings of those realms. But for us, it's more like what we should do is just focus on like reciting, for instance, a Mani mantra, dedicating our recitation to, those beings, making prayers and aspiration for their freedom from suffering. And actually, whatever kind of offering that we do offer, when we include those beings also as, objects of compassion for our offering, and recite Mani, Om Mani Padme Hum, and make of like a dedication, then it's like, whatever they can partake of from that offering, that they can receive it.
Thank you for the clarity.
Okay, There's another question online about for the personal day retreat structure. When will they be able to get that?
So as I said, hopefully the guidelines will be available. I mean, it's hard to say for sure because there are a lot of things, right? But essentially, we're planning to start working on them after this retreat. It just depends on all of the other demands and things that are present on my list of things to do. I will try to have them as soon as I possibly can. My hope is to be able to have them by the end of the week. I'm sorry?
Yeah, similar.
It's similar, but I mean, the idea is to, I mean, if you want to start your retreat right away and you don't have the guidelines, you can do it without the guidelines. If you use one of the guidelines from the past and use it as a basis, it doesn't have to be exact. The guidelines are actually just meant to help you if you need that, but you can structure your own retreat, based on the 4 sessions, based on just like what we did today. It doesn't have to be exact. You can read some of the reflection, meditate, read some of the next reflection, meditate. So you can certainly do your own retreat without having the guidelines. You can structure it yourself.
John Allen's back now for his question. John, can you unmute?
Yeah. Hey, everybody. Thank you. I was wondering about kind of it's a vexing question, but we're talking about the devas and the asuras. Some philosophers have taken a position that the asuras are like they're analogous to the Titans and the Olympians of the Grecian tradition. So there's a Greco-Persian continuity. These archetypes, these myth themes, they overlap, they intersect. So like the Asuras are kind of like benefactors of humanity in a way, like Prometheus, who conferred light, or Lucifer in the Gnostic tradition, who conferred the tree of knowledge and the tree of wisdom, right? These like Hermetic traditions, the Hermetic path. So this is kind of an intersection of East and West in terms of alchemy. And when we work with these archetypes or these egregores, or these kind of effigies, when we construct images and build sculptures and idols and so forth and practice devotional practices, we've got this left-hand path, and we've got this right-hand path. We've got the sinistral and the epidexial. So we have this up and down, right? And in that intersection between clockwise and counterclockwise, to the right, to the left, the spinning, cycling, it seems like we can get really revved up and sometimes lose our minds. It looks like insanity, right? And like insanity and wisdom look like indistinguishable from each other, and then that scares people sometimes around us without us intentionally trying to do so. Does this question make sense? Do you think you can convey that, Virginia, my sister?
I am not sure I followed all that. I do think, like there was so first of all,
Think of it like the swastika, the swastika turning to the right and the swastika turning to the left.
So, tangpo kong yang de lama yen dang lagi kor lama bola gi rwa de lama yen yang di nga zo den de Roman gi lo la yorwa Greek ge ga ge de yang god mambo yore deni yang kashe yang de trado yoba yen yang de digi kor la yang mambo lab so nga shira ko ma song deni di je la yang de pena nga zo gi samlo tangna cho ni deni pena de chud kare de yungdong samlo tangne kongi sam so la de yungdong yang ye cho la drogi yana deni nuba che yore yon cho la drogi yana deni nuba shemba che yore deni sam na rang korangi kor la ki sarwa pe pena yang yongba drawo cha si gere deni yang nga cho thakor la mi yang chenang drawo che si gere deni yang tenda drawo te drama bola
다 레드기 잡는 다 기타 가서 이제 추당 대가 나기 기타 인천 그 트레디션도 ndau 요리 아키텍처 이나리 에 직다 가서 그래가 좀 총송에 마 사월에 비알아 소바다고 또 ndau 요러와 이나 야다티 나랑 오는 ndo somotona 디 히라하고 메스.
So first of all, in terms of like what you brought up about like, Greek mythology, so he said that it's definitely the case that there's a lot of overlapping in many different traditions, many different spiritual traditions. We find so many similarities across the earth and different regions of like, different architecture and artistic expressions, textiles, and like the way that, spiritual practices and kind of the way that people, treat the death of an individual or, different customs involving, burials and so forth. So, so there's definitely a lot that can be seen and identified as similarities, patterns, but when it comes to the specifics of like other traditions, he doesn't have much exposure to that. So he doesn't know like virtually anything about Greek mythology, for instance. Denny?
Tene ta tanda nga su yungdung jikdwa, te yungdung te ketang nga su yungdung tala, njurwa mewas, ke tonda res, la tene nga su jik, pena te yango lakpar tu ki tene, tserop tu su nang la, tene kecha yores, jik njurwa meba, tembo yungya, hien ki tsola, noba chi matobya, ta tene ki ko, simpol ki, ta nangbe nang la kechu chi debi yores.
So the meaning, and you mentioned the swastika, so the meaning, the ancient meaning of the Buddhist swastika is the unchanging nature. So it is a symbol that is used in the context of, so it's not that different from a Vajra.
Explanation.
That's the meaning of it, or its explanation. And so, for instance, whether like in kind of the context of like longevity practice or other kind of the nature of like the changeless nature, the swastika is used to describe or to symbolize that the like unchanging stability.
Tene tiga na yita jik nga so di jana ke tene ya Buddha tzola tene nyingka la jagidwa tene tiga na yiti tene pombo ke sta ta tzola jagido tonda di nyingka kumes ina te yongkoro jagidwa.
And then in like the Chinese Buddhism, you often see the swastika depicted like at the heart of the Buddhas, and also in some of the Bonpo iconography too, there is a a swastika that is counterclockwise, and he's not sure what the meaning is there.
Virginia, may I just add, there's also renditions of the swastika that form a black sun that spin in a spiral, like variations of it. I can show you an image of it. People talk about like in Western esotericism, they talk about the vril energy. It's a Germanic thing, which is similar kind of like to Jing or to Qi. Anyway, this is a discursive thing. I don't want to get us off the subject, but I was just curious, like the Asuras, I guess, like the point of my question was like the Asuras kind of help people, like they help humanity, whereas the Devas kind of are like in a lot of ways cruel in the mythologies. They like keep us prisoned, keep us in prisons. Like Zeus, you know, we're like the playthings of the gods. We're like the playthings. We're like the dolls of the Devas, like Drupal was saying about the girl with the rabbit, the bunny rabbit, picking up the rabbit, you know, like with not gently, and she was like, "Oh, hold it nicely," you know, and hold the bunny nicely. And it's kind of like that. These Olympian gods or these Davic gods are these.
데려와 조 갈스는 가져다 기간의 symbolize the mambo yoris 이내 양다 디고 직 밴로 직 레이스 이내 양다 통어 보토랑 가서 갈스나 자와도 샘 토디 요르와 랑 샘리 디인디다 샘디 갈스나 직고 넘버 또 판다므라 용색이라와 레 대가 나 얘기 가서 샘들라 곤조와 탭로고 요레 디인디네 가서 갈스나 pena chashawi na tini na samle ko karsina tanga impermanent laudo samsam kangi yore tini kangi mewa changro gres tindi ta ti zo chekyo tanga so nangla khalo gre ma ta na chilo lan ro ji nga zo ta samna khira tanga yo ma res tindi na most nangla ta gre ti nangla ta ne tini ko samsam ya sem ke nam tho yore ti kale yore ti ne yang ko te permanent marwa tindi tini konjurwa tebgres ta ke checho te ka nang or chi ta jibo chuna konjo som chi kla sorwa ta tene tega na gita as much as possible nga zo ta ji gomja gu yuna re nga rang gu yuna re oda tzola te nang la kha jena cheare ma ta chilo la mambo som ta na ya ko endless no cha ro gu nga zo ha yo maris.
So, the main thing, so of course, there's a lot of like symbolism everywhere and, a lot of kind of things that we can spin out on intellectually, when we analyze the world around us. But but really at the end of the day, these are all concepts. And if it's really important that we understand that the practice is about turning the mind inward. So turning the mind inward, looking at our own mind and not getting caught up in a lot of conceptual elaboration or discursiveness, and recognizing impermanence, whatever our experience is. So if we are experiencing difficulty and hardship, sort of having patience in those periods and recognizing that they are impermanent, they will change. The main thing is keeping the focus inward, continually looking at our own mind, not getting too caught up in the phenomena that is external, and just staying clear in our own heart and mind. If we have kind of mental difficulty or periods of that are challenging, to remember they're impermanent, they will change. Continue looking at our own mind. If we're happy and things are going well, to feel a sense of gratitude, always supplicate the three jewels in good times and bad times, and to just mainly stay on the course with our practice and to not get too caught up in external elaborations.
Right, so yeah, if you look at external things, like I think,
Oh, it's endless, he said.
endless.
There's never
So
any
this,
end.
that's the, so mainly it's the meditation, recitation, aspirations. So that is really benefit, and also we can, sometimes difficult, but that is not really permanent, so they can change, so.
Lasso, Drupal, Lasso.
Okay.
Okay, Mark and Amelia have a question.
And
In-
yeah,
In
and
underst-
Alana also has her hand raised for a while. But go
yeah,
ahead.
this is from 4:30.
Oh, okay.
In understanding the ultimate happiness cannot be found in samsara, is it also important not to associate it with disengagement? It seems one can be mistaken renunciation with negative forms of detachment. It seems it's wholesome to be appreciative of and enjoy the people and other things in our lives due to interconnectedness. It is natural to be fully engaged with the world and be appreciative. I think maybe the key to the thing is to be aware of not grasping at these people and things as a source of everlasting happiness, as they are conditional, impermanent, question mark.
Ultimately.
The mare de pena ngaso samsamla yang tena pena ong yinjung che ayore set sangma dukma yore latne tene de yang de yinjung la tene yang me dang gare la ko gare de tes kaka chaya ki yang ju ra wacha sigare tene pena ngaso yang me ngaso ge me la sewa yo ken dang tenda de samsam la pena da gare la ko gare de long maten da wo yang shoria ki minga yo jire long maten da wo pena yang de nginjung yamba samne de nune tenda de gare la ko gare shada yang tenda sewa me ba dang drawa chuk chumpo me ba cha sigere tini dinda chikchina yapo yinjim marawa rewe kain sana ngacho changma la yang dinda de mila sewa. It would be really helpful for me to see these written questions instead of to just hear them. It's a little bit hard to just hear them and get them all. It would be better to just read them. Is there a way that I can do that? Can someone send me the written question? Oh, okay, thank you. And then maybe turn this that way a little bit. Okay. Thank you.
4:30.
Thank you. Okay. Okay, then the ngaso the korwa nangla the nune yang nune chine the dewa dondam gi dewa the tempe dewa ngaso kare la re gadi na the tengi dewa dawa naha the nyamyang nyege marwa korwa nanga yena yang di dang pena nginjun che dawa che na di yang pena da yang mila dawa mazoya dawa dini yang ke yon mare korba la gare chana korba rang re dini nga chira chuto che go gumido samsi garawa di la tene it seems one can mistakenly renunciate with a negative form of detachment. The dawa re it seems it's wholesome to be appreciative and joyful.
That did it also.
Okay, I think I explained that. Yeah. Dene nuni chini ngacho tenda de zambuling yang tenda dadung de drawa zo.
Sorry, that did it. Reda ngacho jita ko automatic ko dewate to maseva da mares wa. Yina chona lava na gidi le lawo mares.
Mare de korwa di dewa tingi dewa yo mare.
Reda korbe na dewa top sigirwa. Sigires. Yina yang ta tanda de ngacho jita ta yang ko karse gore ni yores. Simjian ge tong chia la. Tene ko simjian da lian de go yores. Tela yang de ngacho tedowa chamba seya da ke chebo hyure chamba seya ninje seya changjo sem seya ne yang do lab de ya de Beke Chamburis. Yina got that DJ. So Casan digging windows samba jig down. Tene telling us of stock, pay Dungen or Tendi, go Casagota. Go Shayan, digging one. Yin a young Simcha loan of Takarina Jikas, got Tanyum Road in Egypt. Tene your maris, your maris. When I got some Kurvik canal and rope on Atene, Simcha Tonchia in a Mulendeva Chia to Sungu Atene, Chichancho Sambatazo, and Yerwin Alan Rose Sigre, Chanjo Sambatazo, make up Nalan Chon Sigre, Yang Lan Chon to Gre, Simcha Tonda Chigona, Chigre Sungua. What a book you said, lot of book you said.
So yeah, so first of all, he said, and it is actually, so yeah, you certainly don't want your version of renunciation to become something that causes you to disconnect from people, and to become indifferent to the world and indifferent to the suffering of the world. Absolutely, in engaging with the world, we should do so in a way that is not focused on trying to achieve our own happiness, but is focused on love and compassion for beings. So then, when the way of relating with the world is such that it causes your compassion to intensify, like you don't want to become stuck in the pain of the suffering of the world in a way that it overwhelms you also. But you certainly also don't want to have an reaction of like becoming disengaged to the point of becoming indifferent. And in fact, we become more engaged with renunciation, so much so that beings who are true bodhisattvas will plunge themselves into the depths of hell in order to be able to save and liberate the beings there. They will do whatever it is that is necessary, sacrificing life and limb for the sake of benefiting others. So absolutely, renunciation should have the effect, actually, ultimately, of making one more engaged.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Julia had a question online, and I guess she had her hand raised, so I guess she can address the question. Julia, can you unmute?
Hi, can you hear me? Wait, let me turn this on.
We can hear you.
Wait a second. Can you hear me well? I'm not sure if my mic of my laptop is very good. You can hear me? Okay, good. At the end of every realm, there was a paragraph about contemplating on the 6 classes of beings in the 3 realms. We've been talking about many realms. So what realms are we talking about specifically in that paragraph?
Is asking, when we read the paragraph at the end of each section, which realm specifically are we contemplating?
Yes.
Yeah, so what we are, and if you notice, like, I can answer this because, yeah, so it's mentioned each realm that we're contemplating, and if you look at it closely, the refrain is the same, but it says, like, in each realm, it says contemplating the suffering of the hell realms. When we're on hell realms, then we think this, and the refrain is the same. Or contemplating the suffering of the hungry ghost realms, then we think this. And the refrain, the prompt of reflection is the same, that there's no happiness to be found in samsara, but we apply that in each of the different, according to the different sections that we're reading on the different realms. Does that answer? Is that clear?
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Yes,
It is? Okay.
yes.
In the Western context, what is the most appropriate way to handle the burial of a deceased ordinary person? Should they be buried or cremated? The Garci Pena de la Michik Shina, de la de Tarmarbaki Michik Shina, de ni Mela Tana Yagare Yangna Sa O Pena Yagare Gare Yaksare.
Tati namba sanji korang la te cheba yo maris, te mixe yo maris, ko karzina ko da karzina ko supo te sama di zobro cha sarwa, te di mixe yo samaris pena pundo eta labu.
So actually, either one, it's really the same. So because after when the body dies, the physical body dissolves, and so really either one, it really doesn't make a difference, according to Buddhism. So then another one, if anger is related to the suffering of the hell realms, as I observe, are deeply connected to the body, then they burn it, crush it, cut it, almost involves the body. And if it is hot suffering, Okay, so I'm not really getting the part about the suffering of the hell realm being deeply connected to the body. Oh, you mean, I see. Okay, yeah, now I think I'm getting it. Yeah, so because the suffering that one has to experience in the hell realms is very physical, is what you're saying, right? Javier?
Sorry. Yes, it's I see that the suffering of the hell of the hell is related with the body. Okay.
The body, yeah.
And the anger is the cause of the suffering of the body. So in the wisdom that purify the anger is the mirror like wisdom. So contemplating that, the suffering of the hell is like one face of the coin, but must be wisdom in that to purify the anger, the cause of the anger. That's why we left the real helms, because we purify that, and it's through wisdom. I suspect that.
Dini de te statum come yene yang de pena ngaso de shedang la tini dini de nyawa la chegirwa dini nyawa la zupo tso de dunga de zupo gito la tsorgirwa dini yang de pena de shedang yene yang ju de shedang rwa dini de shedang de gi dokcho de melong gi yeshere dini melong yeshe taught na dini di yang pena shedang gi rangshin di ngo number da na dini melongi yeshire dini di yang de shedang jangarwa dini de pena ngarangi yang zubo zup di shirako masong
네, 다 저런 라바 나기레스. 기타가 좋다. 해당게 때네 주다 고녀 발라서 같은 용서기로 와. 이내야 저런 라바 나기. 해당 뭐대. 와. 해당 뭐대. 기타 가서 있는 해당 랑비qabla 해당 랑 랑시 유틀 뭐네 임바. 타코 다 임바 베셈데기로 와. 티키고 레소온로 그래스. 이내야 다지 코지가 좀 멜론한 게 수년도 고 뭐네 당에 해당야 랑기면도 삼반도 지는 근데 거의 해당데 장발에 해당 장미 좀 세대는 건지미야요 말이스.
So, absolutely, as you mentioned, yes, the cause of taking rebirth in the hell realms really is the seed of that. All those causes is anger. But the essence of anger itself is mirror-like wisdom when it is seen, with the recognition of the empty essence. So when you're really angry, when anger arises, and you just rest in the awareness of the nature of that anger itself without following after the story, without becoming really attached to the anger, but just watching the empty display of the anger, then there's the possibility to experience that anger as its essence, as the mirror-like wisdom, which is a very strong kind of sense of clarity in it. It's like the reflection in a mirror that is very clear. And so then you can liberate the anger in the recognition of its mirror, the quality of mirror-like wisdom. And then if you're able to do that, then there's no fruition of that anger. There's no negative fruition of that anger. It's that becomes, affliction that is liberated upon arising. And there's no result. That was the last question. Alana, did you have a question or did you? Because
I think that for the most part, based on other questions, I have some good material to work with my question. So I think I'm gonna just work with that. So thank you.
Re da ga dangi kont huwa na yere da chirang so de ne togi case interesting chi nga chong nyam to discuss chi ayo be ko chungs.
So he just wants to say thank you so much to all of you. Like he's really appreciates your interest, your sincere and genuine interest, and all of your really wonderful questions. And just thank you so much for your practice.
Working on Chini Kale Kale Nyum Mumbati Chungrun Roya Kale Kale Nyum Mumbati Nazo Chantovia Tindiji Chungbina Tineta Ningaso talking about Yarwa lower Rams or the 6 Rams here. What Hikon Yomaris, the Jiboya Yomaris.
So, when, if you keep at it and just keep, your daily practice, working on it, working on your mind, working on, building the awareness that recognizes the afflictive emotions when they arise, that it, and building the capacity to work with those afflictions in a way that is skillful so that they become less powerful, so that they can become less and less, then through your practice, you are overcoming the causes that lead to taking rebirth in the lower realms, for instance. So as you practice, then you're creating the conditions that will prevent you from creating causes, that lead to states of suffering in samsara.
Virginia, may I ask one real quick question? Like, how would you know conclusively when you finally shut the door to the lower realms? When your feet were standing on the door, how would you know once and for all?
Right, so this is actually this, okay. Okay, that's I think very important conclusion, okay? So conclusion is, we said, okay, talking about if, okay, we born in the 6 realms, lower realms, right? So we're talking about, okay, like explanation lower realm, this and that. But really is our choice, our mind, okay? There also this reality, ultimately, is there no reality or like physically there's no like hell beings. So, but like for example, I think, okay, if you no longer affect emotions, that's perfect. But, however, we able to control, okay? Okay, we can control to affect emotions. Okay, we can sort of, we said, oh, I don't want to go here, right? But that's who knows. But we know, okay, is you go or not go, is if you're able to, of course, we have affect emotions, issues, but we're able to control, okay? You stop affect emotions. That means we choose. So I don't want to go. So you're not going to the lower realms. That's guarantee, you know.
If you can make the choice to stop your afflictive emotion, to stop the going after your afflictive emotion, that means you have a choice.
So we choose. And then it's maintaining. So this, I say the afflictive emotions can appear immediately, but actually have Buddha nature, you know. So these are, whatever we have afflictive emotions, is, okay, temporarily, and the relative level, yes, problem, afflictive emotion have power. But look up furthermore, you know, then, you can fix, so are you listening?
Yeah.
So, the afflictive emotion is temporary. So actually this is temporary.
Don't give so much credit to your afflictive emotions, is what he's saying. They're temporary.
Like, don't be such a drama queen.
Right, and then
maybe.
and also no power.
They don't give them power. They don't have the power you think they do.
Right. So this also this, like, for example, of course, sometimes we are confusing sometimes. You know, then this we giving the power of like emotion, you know, or we
Giving
angry,
the power to the
and then
afflictive
just kind of we keep going, you know, angry, okay, this, you know. But if you really look carefully, why? They're empty essence. There's no such things in anger, you know. If you cannot find the anger, then there are no such things to hell. So like, for example, so take time, but we can look. So we think if you really we can sincerely practice our hand, you know. So there's no something people throw the jail, you know, not like that. So we are choice.
We have to empower ourselves to be able to overcome our
Right.
afflictive emotions, essentially.
Okay.
So also you shouldn't think, oh, just maybe randomly I go hell. No. Okay.
Well,
Or also randomly, maybe not practice, or maybe randomly I go to the Wicca pure land. That's I'm not sure, but you're not going to randomly going to lower him. So
That's how you look.
okay, thank you again.
So I have a couple of announcements. I just want to make sure that people are aware of what some of our upcoming events are. So this weekend, Drupal Rinpoche and I will be in Vermont, and he will be giving Yangzap Varahi empowerment. There's also practice, retreat, and teachings. That, if you have received any of the recent emails, that is there. That will be, actually there's an error in how it has been advertised because a change was made later by the host. So it is actually August 9th to August 12th. So meaning the Saturday, the August 9th, and Sunday, August 10th, and then Monday, August 12th. And we will be having a watch party here in the temple. If you want to come in person and join that, that will be available except for Sunday, in which we have Kimbo Yeshe is giving teachings from 10 to 12 on Sunday. But the rest of the event will be, you can join in the temple to participate in that online. And then we have, of course, the Mani Drupchen. If you are planning to come, we would love to have you come, travel to join us in person if you're able to. If you are able to, please do make sure to make those arrangements soon, because we do not have, we have indoor camping available. We no longer have like, rooms that are available on site, but we do have some people who are willing to open space, in their homes, the people who are in the neighborhood, but those spaces are limited. So if you, of course, you can always get a hotel, but if you need housing for the Mani Drupchen and plan to attend, please try to make sure to contact us as soon as you can about that. And, you can register online. Let us know, because, of course, there's still time, but it's getting closer. And then we also have Refuge. So we've finished the 4 thoughts that turn the mind. So the 3-year Ngundro program is now moving into the common preliminaries, which is exciting. That begins with Refuge. So that those teachings, you can, that course of teachings, you can go ahead and sign up for. The registration is available. It's the same as the program that what was started with the Defects of Samsara, that if you pay as a monthly donor, you automatically have everything available for you for the entire 3-year program. So if you already are a monthly donor, you're already registered. Is that correct, Donna? You're already registered for Refuge, so you don't have to register again. But if you are not, then it would be good to register so you make sure to get all the materials. Refuge will begin, the course for Refuge starts on August 17th, and it will be the same thing every Sunday. Drupal Rinpoche will be teaching on it, and we will have a date soon for the retreat, for the 2-day retreat on Refuge. And then we also have in October, there is Drupal Rinpoche is teaching in North Carolina and giving Bodhisattva vows, Vajrapani empowerment. That is also something that is available online and has been in the emails. If you're receiving them towards the bottom, to register, you can contact the host of those teachings. And that will also be live streamed at Drongor in the temple if you wish to attend the watch party for that. So that's it for now. Thank you, everyone.
Okay, thank you.
So we'll do the short dedication, and thank you for your patience. And we realize we went over time. So on page 24 of the prayer book. By the virtues collected in the 3 times, by myself and all beings and samsara and nirvana, and by the innate root of virtue, may I and all beings quickly attain unsurpassed, perfect, complete, precious enlightenment. May the teachings of the great Drigungpa Ratna Shri, who is omniscient, Lord of the Dharma, Master of interdependence, continue and increase through study, practice, contemplation, and meditation until the end of samsara.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.